went to bleeding races, 'twas on the 9th of June, 1862 on a summer's afternoon. I took the bus to Banbury's and she was heavy laden. Away we went along Collingwood Street, that's on the road to bleeding.
You're watching Toon Army TV. Welcome to the channel. This is the Newcastle United versus West Bromwich Albion match preview this Saturday at St James's Park. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League. Newcastle haven't played a game for around 2 weeks due to the fact that certain Newcastle players and staff allegedly have tested positive for you know what. And due to that, Newcastle's game away at Aston Villa a week ago was suspended due to health and safety precautions. Now, it was the right decision for Newcastle and Villa and the Premier League to come to some sort of agreement in order to postpone that game for a later date, because the last thing that the Premier League want is to suspend the season, to call off more games because the Euros are just around the corner. So I think common sense has prevailed in all of this. With Newcastle not playing for 2 weeks, we have had a longer break than most, and there's no excuse for a poor performance against West Bromwich Albion, who are struggling themselves this season. In my opinion, we haven't got a very good home record under Steve Bruce, and that needs to change very quickly. Yes, we've beaten West Bromwich Albion, but if you look at some of the previous results, they haven't been good enough, and we need to be putting clubs like West Bromwich Albion to the sword this Saturday. We need to start off on the front foot. We need to be more clinical, and we need to be working the keeper a lot more than we are. Positive signs against Crystal Palace, but it's something that we need to build on this Saturday, because under Steve Bruce we've been very inconsistent, to say the least. Just before I jump into the preview, if you could do the following: please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos from myself, and also drop down in the comments your starting 11s and your score predictions. I will read and answer all of your questions, all of your comments at the end of this video. So I'm going to draw a comparison for both Newcastle and West Brom as we preview this match. So looking at the Premier League table, Newcastle start off this game in 13th place on 14 points. That's mid-table. A win against the Baggies could see Newcastle United go into 10th on goal difference. We're looking decent in terms of where we are in the league. We've got a bit of a gap between ourselves and the relegation zone, but as mentioned before, we're not out of the woods just yet. We've got to start picking up points and keep a winning run going. Now, Crystal Palace was a good win, but it's only a good win if we're back it up with another win against West Bromwich Albion. And talking of West Bromwich Albion, they go into this game in 19th place. They only have 6 points. That's second bottom. A win against us could see them jump into 17th place. I hope that is not the case. A draw, I think, would keep them in the relegation zone. And a draw for the TOON, well, will keep Newcastle United 13th place. Now, last game for Newcastle, we took on Crystal Palace 2 weeks ago at Selhurst Park and beat them by 2-0. A very good, convincing clean sheet for the TOON. It wasn't the best game to watch on the eye. Crystal Palace had chances, we had chances, but we were more clinical towards the end. Joe Linton had a massive say in both goals. He set up the goal for Callum Wilson to score his 7th goal for the TOON in 9 appearances. Long may that continue. And Joe Linton capped off his first Premier League goal of the season at Selhurst Park to wrap it up, scoring the 2nd goal to give us a good 2-0 win down in London, which was fantastic. I wasn't expecting it. I was kind of set for a draw, but the TOON always like to prove you wrong. As for West Bromwich Albion, well, since we've taken on Crystal Palace 2 weeks ago, they've had 2 matches. They beat Sheffield United 1-0 at the Hawthorns, played very well from what I'd last seen on Match of the Day. And then last game out, they were at home again, and they lost 5-1 at home to Crystal Palace, which is very concerning for them. Yes, they did go down to 10 men, and Matthias Pereira, one of their best players, was sent off that afternoon. Was it a straight red card? Well, you could say it's soft, but then if you go in two-footed, showing your studs, then you're giving the referee no option but to send you off. So I think in the end, looking at it, it's probably the right decision, and he will be missing for up to 3 games. It's a massive blow for West Bromwich Albion. Now, Steve Bruce, for me, there's no excuses for him not to win this game and get the 3 points on Saturday. Set up the way he did against Crystal Palace against West Brom, then it is possible that we can get another 3 points. As for Slavian Bilic, the West Bromwich Albion manager, he's under a lot of pressure from the articles I've been reading. Allegedly, if he does not get a result at St James's Park on Saturday, whether that be a win or a draw, then he could be sacked. He could potentially lose his job. I like Slavian Bilic. I think he's a great manager. I think West Bromwich Albion would be wrong to sack him, in my opinion, if they didn't get the result at St James's Park. What more do they expect? You know, they've just been promoted. They were one of my favourites to go down due to the fact that I don't think they have enough quality in their side. They don't score enough goals and they concede a lot of goals. And that's what happens when you get promoted from the Championship. You are one of the favourites to go down, and that's what their boards need to understand. And in order to get results, you need to keep faith in the manager. And I feel like Slavian Bilic, it's still early days, a lot can change, and that I believe he can get the best out of West Bromwich Albion. He may need to tweak a few things. He may need to change the formation, go into the January market and make some decent signings that are going to push them, you know, away from the relegation zone. Where West Bromwich Albion are now, they may not be there in a couple of months' time. It can all change through Christmas. And I just think if West Bromwich Albion sack Slavian Bilic or Slaven Bilic, then who are they going to get in as the replacement? Because I don't think there's a better manager out there that could do the job that he's done. And also, he got West Bromwich Albion promoted. So if anything, he's not done anything wrong. It's just the pure greed of the Premier League and what can happen once you get into that division. It happened with Mike Ashley under, you know, the management is Chris Hughton. So I think West Bromwich Albion are a very, very similar situation. And talking of West Bromwich Albion, we lost at the Hawthorns for then Chris Hughton to get the sack. So it could be a very similar feeling for Slaven Bilic. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope he keeps his job, but we'll have to wait and see in the coming weeks. Now, injuries and suspensions. Newcastle, well, it's difficult to say right now because we've not played for a couple of weeks. We don't know who's going to be fit and available. We don't know who's still got you-know-what and who hasn't. We don't know who's still recovering from injuries. We'll find out in Steve Bruce's press conference in the coming days. As I record this on Wednesday afternoon, you will see this on Thursday afternoon. As for our opponents, West Bromwich Albion, well, Matis Pereira got a red card against Crystal Palace. That will be the same, so he'll be out for up to 3 games. A massive blow for them. Carnu, that's Robson Carnu, will be missing for this game, I believe. Connor Townsend, Sam Field, Livermore, just to name a few for West Bromwich Albion. That may change over the coming days, but that's what I'm reading in my notes that I've taken. So we don't know really for both sides what's going to happen in terms of Saturday's game. It could all change once both managers, you know, do their press conferences when they need to do them. Now, Steve Bruce, in terms of a formation, goes with the 4-4-2. He changed it finally after a frustrating few games of 5 at the back. The wing-back system, it doesn't work. When you play the wing-back system, you've got to have wingers that can do both the wing-back and the winger role. We don't have players that can do that, unfortunately, and we've struggled. And when you play 5 at the back, you're meant to be compact and strong. Well, we still concede a boatload of goals. So for me, I've always said 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2, a formation with 4 at the back, and it worked against Crystal Palace. If you set up positive, then you will get a positive result 9 times out of 10, and that's what happened against Crystal Palace. We're playing 4 at the back, you leave yourself open with 4 in the midfield and 2 up front. You've got a chance of scoring goals, and that's exactly, you know, what's happened against Crystal Palace. We'll only find out if it has worked against West Brom on Saturday. It should do. It should be quite an open game, and we should have a lot of the possession, and we should be dictating play in this game. And they say don't change anything that's not broken. So fingers crossed Steve Bruce does not change it on Saturday. As for West Bromwich Albion, well, Slaven Bilic likes to go with the 3-4-1-2 formation. So that's 3 at the back, 4 in midfield, quite compact. The number 10 on his own and 2 up front. Well, with Pereira being out, they may change that to a different formation. But in general, I don't think it's working for them because they're still not scoring enough goals. and they actually concede goals. And I said before about tweaking the formation, they might actually change it to maybe 4 at the back. They might go 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 or something like that. It's something that might work for West Brom going forward. Well, I hope it doesn't work on Saturday, but from the outside looking in, I don't feel, in my opinion, that 3-4-1-2 is working. In the Championship, you might get away with it because it's quite open a league and teams are, prone to conceding goals. But in the Premier League, it's quite tough, quite physical, and each game is a challenge. And West Brom are obviously finding it tough to break teams down, and they're finding it tough to keep the ball out of the back of the net. So I think formation-wise, I expect Slaven Bilic to go with 3-4-1-2, but he may change it on Saturday afternoon. So we'll wait and see on that. Now, players to watch out for both sides. We'll start off with Newcastle. So first up, Callum Wilson. If you're a West Brom fan watching this, he's scored 7 goals so far this season in 9 appearances. Could have scored more. He'll be sensing his opportunity this weekend as you concede a lot of goals yourselves. He'll be wanting to try and get in that England setup and prove to Gareth Southgate that he is a one to go to the Euros next summer. And if it wasn't for the injury against Southampton and missing against Chelsea, he could have actually had double figures, and he'll be looking to try and get that on Saturday. So if you give him any service, then I expect him, to put the ball in the back of the net. Joe Linton, he played ever so well against Crystal Palace, the best game that he's played in a Newcastle shirt to date. He's got 1 goal so far in the Premier League this season, and that was against Crystal Palace. He also got an assist. And I feel like with the 4-2-2 formation, he could get more goals. And if he plays how he did against Crystal Palace, if he puts himself about the pitch and he works hard, then he could score on Saturday. And plus you're open, so there's a chance. ASM, or Alan St-Maximin, he's not been great in the last few games, but this is the type of game where I expect him to get a lot of the ball, to be a threat, not only to cause you defensive problems, but he'll also like to bring others into play as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually scored on the weekend. And that he's fast, he's got tricks, he's got skill, he's got everything that you want in a good player. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're man marking him, if you've got 3 or 4 players around him. You're going to have to try and stop him from playing. If you don't stop him from playing, then it could be a long afternoon if you're a West Bromwich Albion fan watching. There's many more players that I could say for Newcastle, but I believe they're the 3 that you need to watch out for this Saturday afternoon. As for West Bromwich Albion, well, I've selected 2. The first one is Gallagher from the midfield. He's got 2 goals this season. He scored against Sheffield United 2 games ago, and he'll be looking to do the same on Saturday afternoon if he gets the service. If we go into the game as a Newcastle fan quite defensive, then if he gets a lot of the ball, he could potentially score. But it all depends on the service, and he's a type of player who he needs the service from the West Bromwich Albion players, and he'll be looking forward to it because he knows that his manager is under a lot of pressure. Dean Garner as well, he's got 1 goal for West Bromwich Albion this season. Another striker who needs to score more goals, but he's got 1 already, so the confidence will be there that he'll want to score another 1. But looking at the West Bromwich Albion side, I don't think, in my opinion, that I'm concerned about what they offer as a threat, because they're already missing their main man. They don't score enough goals and they concede too many. So it's a type of game where I'm confident, and I'm never normally this confident for a match. So that's just the way it is with West Bromwich Albion. Now, in terms of a team lineup selection for Newcastle, again, I could be wrong on this start 11. We really don't know who's going to play. So this is my starting 11. I've actually gone with a 4-2-3-1 formation, but if Steve Bruce sticks with a 4-4-2, then fair dues. So in goal, Carl Darlow, Jamal Lewis at left back, Manquillo at right back. The 2 centre backs, Kieran Clark and Federico Fernandez. For me, Jamal Lascelles has been injury prone. He's been poor. He doesn't deserve to be back in the side. Fabian Schär he's distant south. I think he'll be leaving at the end of the season. The rest of the side, Isaac Hayden, Giorgio Shelvey in the 2 defensive mids, just protecting the back 4. Almiron in the number 10. I'm going to go with Joe Linton on the left-hand side, ASM on the right-hand side, and Callum Wilson up front. But I wouldn't be surprised if Almiron is drafted on the wing and we see ASM drafted on one wing and potentially Callum Wilson and Joe Linton up front together. It could be a completely different lineup, but that's what I predict this Saturday at St James's Park for the game against West Brom. That is a strong enough lineup to be beating the likes of West Bromwich Albion. But looking at the game as a whole and comparing both sides, the game is stacked in our favour. Newcastle United, we've had 2 weeks off. West Bromwich Albion are not in the best run of form. Their manager's under pressure. They don't score enough goals. They concede too many goals. And we need to improve our home form. As for the TOON, we've beaten Crystal Palace last game out. We've had a break, and it would come to a welcome relief to have that break in order to be ready for this game on Saturday. As said before, we need to get it right. Steve Bruce needs to set up the way in which we expect. Get at West Brom, be on the front foot, be clinical, pass the ball around, don't give West Bromwich Albion any openings, and put the ball in the back of the net first and foremost, and back up the result against Crystal Palace, because if we don't, then there'll be more pressure on Steve Bruce, and if he doesn't beat West Bromwich Albion this Saturday, well, the pressure is well and truly on. I will say, for the facts, I am still Steve Bruce out. Yes, he beat Crystal Palace, but it's still paper over the cracks. We need to back up results. We need to stay consistent. That's the most important thing. And with us being so confident for the game on Saturday, my score prediction is Newcastle United 3, West Bromwich Albion 1. Callum Wilson, I believe, will get a couple of goals, and we'll get a goal from somewhere else of a different player, maybe ASM or Almiron. Hopefully it could be a Wilson hat-trick. We don't know. West Brom may get one. They're the sort of side that do get the odd goal here or there, so that's why I think we may just concede one, but I hope we can keep a clean sheet. But I will stick with the 3-1 to Newcastle. Let me know down below in the comments your thoughts and feelings going into the West Bromwich Albion game this Saturday at St James's Park. Let me know your score predictions. Let me know your starting 11s. And also, if you're new around here, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, it's free, turn on the bell, the notification bell, so you're notified for videos that I do drop, and drop your comments down below. Follow me on social media, TOON Army TV, Instagram and Twitter, and I'll catch you all for the review, quick thoughts at the end of the game. Stay safe, keep it tuned, how are the lads?
Hey, hey,